Yo and hello everybody, Mike Moynihan here, baseball collector, and we're doing a Hobby Palooza episode today on my channel. I'm super excited to have everybody here. Whoever wants to show up today, we'll see how many people show up. I know two guys that are showing up, and that's Jason right over there.
Hey folks.
Cardboard. Welcome to your first face reveal on YouTube.
In all its glory.
In all its glory. And then Josh, who rarely reveals his face, typically only on my channel. So I'm grateful to that. Josh, welcome, guys. Glad y'all are here.
It's good to be here.
Oh, sure. I have technical problems, right? Did I glitch out?
You did for about half a second there. I saw Josh's face, and he and I both thought, "Oh no, we've left the video." And then
no, you're good.
No, it's Mike. It's Mike.
Man, so if you're asking what we're going to talk about today, well, we're going to talk about cards that are on our radar, and not just from what they are, which we'll talk about that, but why we want them and where our minds go and how our line of thinking is, because a lot of us, the three of us especially, have a lot of great vintage already in our collections. You know, it's not, if I stopped and never bought another vintage card, I'd have a pretty good collection. But as collectors, right, we're always looking for the next thing and how to make it better, how to make it more complete, etc. I know there's one card that had been on our radars for a long time, and we each happened to have one. Josh and I got ours at the same time at the Dallas show. This is why we're all in the stream together, because we all have similar tastes. See, I have this, and we have three Babe Ruth 48 Leafs, all, you know, and we're similar minded. I have a 1, Josh has a 1, Jason has a 1.5. So it's like, well, okay then. So you can see why I invited these guys to be with me to talk through this. And you both, maybe real quick, Jason, if you want to just give your quick who you are, what you like to collect and stuff like that, so people that may not know you can go check out your channel, and you'll love his channel, by the way. So Jason, go first.
I appreciate it, Mike. I'm Jason. I go by the word Cardboard. I got into collecting with my dad back in '91, the height of the junk wax era. He grew up in the 50s and 60s, so when he was growing up, he played Little League from 58 to 61, so those are sort of the years that he focused on. My grandfather played in World War II with Ted Williams, so we've always had some kind of affection for Ted Williams. So I actually grew up, started collecting vintage, and my big focus was, like you and I were talking about, Mike, post-World War II until about 1965, what I call the boomer era, or the golden age of baseball. I mean, people were transitioning from the radios to the TVs in their houses, but you still had a lot of people listening to radio. So baseball players still held sort of this mythological aura around them, I think. And so that was my primary interest, and that still probably is my primary interest. But I've gotten more recently into the newer stuff. I lived in Germany for a few years, so when I got back from there a couple of years ago, I started getting more into the newer stuff. But I'm still hunting that vintage stuff when I can. I love it. I love it so much.
Awesome, Jason. You know, everybody's talking about the pink headphones, and I tell you, man, it takes a strong, sense of masculinity to be able to pull off those headphones, and you're doing it. It's fantastic.
Not if there's anything wrong with it. No, it's my wife's. I told Mike, it's my wife's old gamer headphone set or something, and it's big, it's bulky, but it sounds really good, and it picks up my voice really well. So I have this cheap pair that I use on occasion if I feel like I need to for work, but otherwise I'm using these things.
Is that your wife? There's you behind.
Awesome.
That's mine. I got a ton of Nolan Ryan. I got some. This is the This is the 1951 Giants Dodgers shot around the world. Bobby Thompson, Ralph Branca, signed by both of them. Catch from Willie Mays, 1954, right there. Joe Namath in the middle.
Josh, what about you?
Yeah, I grew up. My dad collected, big Dodger fan, so that Branca home run was a little painful. But love sports in general, and been collecting since 87 Topps junk wax era. Took a little break, people around college age, and then got back pretty heavy. Started in 2014, and this will be my third national coming up.
Yes, the National. Jason, you're not going, are you? I can't remember.
I'm not. I went to one in 1992 in Atlanta. My birthday is at the end of July, so Nationals always falls over my birthday. My mom had already decided she wanted to come out and see the new house and see her grandkid. So this year I'm foregoing it, but I told my wife next year. Two things are happening. I'm turning 40, and it will be the 30th anniversary of the only other National I attended. So I'm planning to go up to Atlantic City, even though I have no real desire to go to Atlantic City.
That is awesome. I feel like I'm echoing. Is it not bad on y'all's end? Okay, good. All right, let's get into the topic du jour, which is all things vintage. Josh, we'll start with you. What are some cards that you're kind of hunting for, kind of next things you want to add to your collection, and why are they important to you as you go through your first couple?
Okay. So number one, try to focus on stuff that kind of fits my collection and that I've wanted for a long time. So I have a few T206, and so kind of what I feel would fit nicely in that group is like a Cy Young or Walter Johnson low grade. And so I've been hunting for that for a while, maybe even a Rube Waddell.
Nice. Okay. Why do you want those? Why are those important to you?
I mean, big picture, I try to focus on guys who I think are going to matter in 50, 100 years and try to collect scarce greatness if I have to boil it down to a few words.
I love it. Scarce greatness. If you're out there looking for vintage stuff, think about scarce greatness. It doesn't mean cheap, by the way. None of those don't equal cheap, but they scarce and greatness are two great things to think about. Jason, what are a couple on your radar that you're thinking about? Your first couple.
Can we go into specifics or why? Why I'm looking for? I'll tell you why these cards.
Or whatever.
So they fall into one of four categories. Either I need it for a set that I'm putting together, and I'm not a set builder, but there are a couple of sets out there I've been slowly working on. Either I've regretted selling it at some point. So on my list, I've owned several of them at one point. I've just sold them off and then later regretted it. So I'd like to get those back. Three are the cards I've had my eye on for the past 25 years, and I've just never pulled the trigger. And four are the ones that I think are undervalued, along the lines of the scarcity greatness, the great scarcity. The ones I think are undervalued in the hobby market are the players who are the greats of their time, but still don't have the market value. So I think there's still buys out there. And the first one, well, I mean, you and I have the same first one. It's the 1953 Bowman colored mantle. That's because I've slowly been piecing that set together over the past couple of years. I probably have about 102, 103 of the cards. That being the biggest one in the set and the biggest one I still need. And then I'm looking for guys like, I'd like to get a couple of Jackie Robinsons. I have one on this list. I have a Nolan Ryan rookie, but it's miscut, so I'd like a really nice one of those. But I'll go into more when we get it. And you can probably tell that I'm a huge Nolan Ryan fan, so I should already have a really nice one, but I don't.
Yeah, I think very similar to you guys. And I think vintage people in general think the way we think, right? It's mostly underappreciated greats that are out there. And if you learn about the history of the game, if it's something that intrigues you, piques your interest, I think all three of us can probably say we've been inspired to buy cards, maybe from watching baseball by Ken Burns, or something. I've watched it and I'm going, God, what a great story. I want to go connect to that story by having a card of that player from that era. And all of that matters. For me, like you said, Jason, I think Jason and I are brothers, and Josh could be our little brother. But because Josh is younger, he's a young guy, so we have the same card that we both want. My number one, although when I put this list together of cards, I'm kind of would really love to add in the near future to my collection. I didn't think, I've always would love, who wouldn't want a 52 Topps Mantle or a Wagner or whatever, pick your, Holy Grail type card. I wanted to pick cards, and this was my instructions to you guys when we were talked about this episode, was what are some realistic things that we can get, things that aren't unreasonable, that would be, a goal for the next couple of years as we're looking for cards to buy. And 53 Bowman color mantles is it for me. Number one, the rest of them are all just kind of stuff. If I see it, I'd add it. It's not like I'm doing this in some order. I think as a collector, if you do that, you're setting yourself up to be disappointed when you go places. Just again, I told you guys before we went live, I have 1,000+ cards. I'd buy any of them right now for my collection if I found them at the right price. And so, you know, the 53 Bowman Color Mantle, though, for me is one that I need it for my 53 Bowman Color Hall of Fame run. I only need 2 cards left. So I need the Mantle and I need the Duke Snyder. So I would take either one of those cards right now and be really happy. Josh is, anytime I mention a Dodger, Josh is going to just smile. Like he's going to be happy about that. But I would say the Mantle is big for that reason. I'm really close to finishing my Mantle run. I need the Topps 52, the 52 Bowman, and the 53 Bowman Color, and that's it. You know, that's all I need. So that's just a big one for me. I'd love a 33 Gaudy Dizzy Dean because that's one of the top 300 cards, and it's one of the only top 300 cards by Mike Payne for that set that I can get that doesn't have a comma in it. And the reality is, even now, that card has a comma in it. Josh, maybe talk about a couple of other cards that are on your list, and then maybe talk about what kind of grade, like when you look for this. First of all of us are looking for slab versions of these cards, I would imagine. And if so, why does it matter that they're slabbed to you? And what do you, when you look at, are you looking for a specific grade? Are you trying to stay within a budget? How do you kind of make that decision process to buy a certain example of a card you're looking for?
Well, you know, my number 2 would probably be got this guy in an 8 and want to ideally match it with the other, you know, key rookie from that year, best brewer ever. So I look at the pop count, look at what else I have. Does it fit my collection? Prices, obviously, you're going from an 8, PSA 8, 1975 to PSA 9, 1975. So I think that's like a 10x increase, right? So you got to figure out kind of your sweet spot. And so that's why number 2 on my list would be the Robin Yount. You know, great player, 2-time MVP. Growing up, you know, I always wanted that card. So it's something, you know, I've wanted for 20+ years. And, you know, it kind of checks a lot of those boxes that Jason said is like big 4.
What about the grades? Like when you're looking for a card, grade matter? Does grade matter? Does price matter? Which matters more? What do you look at?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the year, right? My next one would be the 38 Gaudy DiMaggio. And so for that, I'm just looking for like a decent version, ideally, you know, not too beat up. But if you're looking in the PSA 1, 2 range, you're just looking for something that hasn't been hit by a truck, right? Centering and registration probably matter a little bit more to me than corners, for instance, but that's just case by case, and definitely want it graded. I mean, I always find it fishy when some cards that are, you know, approaching 100 years old haven't been graded. You ask yourself why.
For sure. At this point, right, in the hobby. Jason, what about you? What are some couple other cards you're looking for?
Well, first again was the Bowman Mantle. The reason I like that set is everybody likes the 57 and 67 sets because of the amount of space devoted to the card of the picture of the background and everything. To me, the 53 was the first real set that did that. It's just a beautiful, colorful set. After the Mantle, I would like to pick up probably a PSA 2-ish 52 Topps Maze. Maze is one I think is extremely undervalued in the hobby given his accolades. At one time, this is one that I sort of regret selling because one time I had a low numbered set, 1 to 310, that had PSA 3 Maze in it. And at the same time, I had a signed 52 Topps Mental and signed 52 Topps Matthews. So all of them way too soon. I probably won't get the Matthews or the Mantle back, but the Maze one and a PSA 2 I think I could get. It's an iconic card to me. It wasn't a short print. It wasn't dumped over the barge like the Mantles were, but it's an iconic photo of him in his early years. And a consolation to that would be a 53, which is a short print 53 Topps Maze. But I just think 52 Maze is a beautiful card and undervalued for a man of his esteem. I'll bring up a Dodger. The Dodger I would love to get it's an homage to my dad because he grew up in North Georgia in the 50s and early 60s, and the Braves hadn't moved there yet. And so if you're from a market or an area without a baseball market, he typically leaned towards one of the New York markets. So he liked the Dodgers. He was a big Koufax, Snyder, Don Drysdale. And so a card I've had my eyes on for years and just never pulled the trigger on is a 1949 Bowman Duke Snyder. Duke Snyder was one of his favorites. It's a card that is relatively inexpensive for a Hall of Famer of that era, of that caliber. Known more, I think, for his defensive skills than his offensive ones. But I would love to pick up probably a PSA 4 to 6 49 Bowman Duke Snyder rookie. And from the same set, as much as I don't really care for the 49 Bowman color or the 49 Bowman set, another one I like is Jackie Robinson. We were talking for this about the Leaf Jackie Robinson and how astronomical the prices on that have gone. To me, the 49 Bowman Jackie is just about as much of a rookie as that Leaf card is, but much cheaper. So I would love to get maybe a PSA 2 on the 49 Bowman Jackie Robinson. Good photo film, not a great background, don't care for the solid color backgrounds that much, but it is a good card of his to own. I think it's one that's much more affordable and probably undervalued right now compared to some of the other stuff.
I think it's a gorgeous card, actually. I mean, I love the red background of the 49 Bowman Jackie. It's not for every, that's why there's so many different cards, right? There's a comment here from somebody. I'm following the comments. I'm reading a lot of them as they're streaming in, and I appreciate everybody's unique perspectives on vintage. The great thing is we're all allowed to think what we want to think. There's no right or wrong necessarily to how that goes. Jason, I'm just going to mute you while you're not talking, just because I can hear some background noise, if that's okay. And I'll unmute you when I ask you a question. I'll let you talk. No, I'm just kidding. This comment by with great name, by the way, Turd Ferguson. PSA registry people only care about who graded it in the assigned grade. Do y'all agree with that statement or disagree with that statement or kind of agree with that statement? Josh, what do you think?
I mean, probably depends on the person. If you're huge into the PSA registries, you probably are preferring PSA. I do lean PSA, but to me, it's not gospel. And I like the registries, but I don't buy a card out of a registry if I don't like the card itself.
I am somewhat of a slave to the registries. I admit that. At the same time, I don't just buy a card to get a higher grade. I want to buy a nice card, a nice example of it. I'll take a lower grade. If I had two in front of me, I'd buy the lower grade if it's cheaper and still looks good. So money to me is what the real driving factor is. We all have some hobby budget, no matter how many zeros are behind it. And you still have to make decisions about, well, if I buy this card at this grade and this price, that means I can't buy something else. There's always a trade-off to that. So I do care about that it's PSA. I don't want any SGC, and nothing wrong with SGC. I'm a PSA guy. I'm wearing the bloody hat, but I don't know. It's a lot of people. Of course, Don says the comment we all agree with: buy the card, not the grade. Right? I think everybody that's been in vintage any amount of time will know that that's a true statement, and have probably had many examples of cards they've added to their collection that fit that. I bought the card, not the grade. And that's just needs to be everybody's mantra if you're in vintage, I think, to think that way. B. Roth is saying, where did it go? Lord Cardboard has a face. Yes, he does. He does.
Right.
So a couple more that are on my list. I love Hall of Fame rookie cards. So I've got the 41 play ball Pee Wee Reese, which I actually just think is a cool card as well. I have a lot of Dodgers on here. This isn't because Josh is here. I promise. It's just, Pee Wee Reese rookie 41 play ball. I got the 48 Bowman Stan Musial. I would love the 48 Leaf Stan Musial. It's a card that's just exploded, and it's about darn time, I guess, for Musial to get some due in the hobby market. Oh, thanks. Just rub it in, why don't you? Thanks,
Yeah, definitely still undervalued.
Josh.
I had a 6 about 15 years ago and sold it way too.
It is still undervalued. Oh, but those are kind of two more that are on my list. The Leaf Mutual, just it's a top 300 card for a set registry for me, and it's a Hall of Fame, rookie card. Although it's Mutual played a lot longer before that, they just didn't have cards, right? And so, what's a couple more for you, Jason?
Well, first, to answer the gentleman's question about the registry, I don't care. It's PSA or SGC if it's going to be graded. I'll buy raw. My preference, if I am buying raw, is to buy it in person, card show, so I can inspect the card in my hands. But I'm not on those registries. And SGC, I have a 56 man at SGC right now. I've grown warm to their cases a little bit. I do think cards pop in those cases, so I'm becoming more interested in them. But PSA, SEC are the two that I kind of go to when it's graded as far as vintage. As far as other cards I would like to pick up, there's a card I would love. That didn't even come on didn't even come into my scan until the past probably year and a half. It's the 1907 Deitch Ty Cobb. It's a postcard. I think it's his first appearance on a card. It used to be a Sporting News card that was considered his rookie, but now it's this Deitch postcard. And he has two poses, a batting pose and a fielding. And there's actually one right now. There's an auction that has a batting pose. It's graded PSA authentic up right now. So I'd love to pick that up because he, besides being a great player, he was from a nearby where I grew up. Little known fact, he and Johnny Mize were cousins. But he grew up in Louisville. They have a nice little museum devoted to him. So I'd like to pick up. And he did a lot for the community, actually. He donated a ton of money to a local hospital there. Ended up passing away as a very wealthy man. He invested his money really well. But one of the best hitters to ever play. I'd love to get that card. Another one I like a lot, again, the 68 Nolan Ryan. This is more of a regret. I have one. It's raw. It's miscut. I'm fairly certain it's miscut. I've owned a PSA 9 off-centered at one time. I've owned a 6 and a 4 and still 3. I would love to get a nicely centered Nolan Ryan rookie that's actually from Topps and not the Milton Bradley set that PSA often uses Topps. But to find those cards nicely centered is fairly rare. So I'd love to have a 5 or 6 or 7 nicely centered Nolan Ryan rookie because I do think he's one of the best pitchers to have played the game. I think he played for crappy teams and didn't get the respect that he deserved, didn't get the runs that he needed a lot of times, the run support. So any nice Nolan Ryan card, but primarily a nicely centered 68 Topps. It's the only one. It's really one of the few rookies that I don't mind the dual rookie player. Guzman was good in his own right, but I really don't mind the dual rookie card for him.
Here's a great comment. We got Carlisle, Rude. Don't think of it as $60 to grade your card. Think of it as climate-controlled storage for $5 a month. I like that because protecting the card is part of it, right? I mean, the slab does protect it as much as you can. Is it much protection? I mean, yeah, you're not going to throw it off a building, but we should do that. We should test that, Josh. Throw some of our cards off a building and see which slab holds up best.
I think we all probably have some experience of dropping a card or dinging in a corner, some idiotic thing that you've done in the past that, obviously would have been protected if you had a slab.
Yeah, it matters. And even I put my Ruth back in its home in this, the black canvas case here. I have a few cards in those just to add another layer of protection, which is probably total overkill, but they also look good in those too. What about you, Josh? A couple more, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, Jason beat me to the punch on the Nolan Ryan rookie. That I've wanted for a long time. Been stickler for the centering, especially on the back. So haven't found the right one. You kind of shamed me when we were in Dallas when I told you I was still looking for one. The Texas guys. And I know B-Roth got one, and there's that confusion between the Milton Bradley and what's, the Topps version, and I still don't totally understand that. And it was kind of weird that his came back regular. So just want to be like 100% sure on that one.
Yeah. What else?
And then Jason mentioned 52 Topps Maze, which 100% agrees. Just fantastic card still. I think a little overlooked, although it's come up like crazy. So the mantle's obviously crazy, but would love to get the Jackie one day. And then the other maze that I've been looking for, and I know Nate Tops 85 401 picked one up along with you at the last national, right? The 51 maze rookie. So one day would love to land that one too.
Yeah, I got a 2, and it's fine,
Love
know.
it.
And it was a nice example. And I called over Andrew, Nuff Said Cards, to help me buy it. Like, okay, talk me into this. And he did, or tell me I'm crazy if I am. Like, if I'm being too emotional about the purchase. And he was, because he's not emotionally invested in the decision, right? Just like you talked me into buying this Ruth, because you had bought one the day, but we talked you into buying one the day before, and then you talked me into buying this one the next day.
It's helpful having friends kind of give you a little bit of guidance. They're obviously not paying the money, so they can, be objective, and especially a place like the National where you have like tons of experts. I mean, guys like Andrew and Dave, et cetera, they know way more than I'll ever know. So just to get their opinion is super valuable.
100%. So you mentioned the 49 Bowman set, Jason, a couple cards you're looking at there. Probably way up there on my list would be the 49 Bowman Satchel Paige.
Yeah.
Is way up there, because the 48, 49 leaf Satchel is a card I'll probably never be able to afford to own. Never say never, but I never thought I'd own a Mantle rookie either. So there you go. You never say never, but at the same time, it's not one I'm just like, trying to hone in on. I think the 49 Bowman Satch is a great counterpart to that. Call it a second fiddle, but it's a wonderful card in and of its own right. I mentioned the 52 Bowman Mantle is another one I want. Another card that's kind of under the radar that I think is really cool, and I know Mangini's in here. He'll really love this, but it's 54 Wilson Wieners Roy Campanella. It's a orange background card. They were in hot dogs, and whatnot. And it's just a really cool Campanella card that's, I think, overlooked a lot. It's hard to find it, but it's, it's one of those that's on my list. It's a 300 great card. But what's great about the 300 great cards is, well, why are you doing that? Well, because there's a lot of great baseball cards in there at the end. There's some that are head scratchers, and you go, why is that card even included in this set? It makes no sense. Kurt Bavacqua blowing bubble gum or whatever is in from 77 Tops. But most of the cards in there are just awesome examples of cards throughout the 20th century that you would love to own if you're building a complete kind of history of the hobby sports card collection. That's kind of what I like. If you were to say, what's my drive? It's to have a amazingly complete and full collection of things from across the baseball card spectrum, the different eras, the years, whatnot. So that card is on my list for sure. I'm just going to run through the rest of mine, and then I'll let you guys talk, because we do have a giveaway, by the way. I have a box of 2021 Topps Inception that I'm going to be giving away. We got a trivia question coming in a little bit. 51 Burke Ross Joe DiMaggio. And I consider that his last card. So that's kind of why I want to get that one. I'm doing the last card of all the Hall of Famers. The PSA set registry for that is last Topps card, but I like the last card because it shows the back. If you look at the back, all the stats, if there were stats on the cards back then. The 51 Burke Ross DiMaggio. There's also a 52 Burke Ross DiMaggio, which is I think essentially the same card. It's just got a different year on it, if I remember. But I want the 51 for some reason. There's 2 Clemente cards I need to finish his player run, and a lot of this is driven by, man, I'm so close on some of these player runs to having all of their Topps cards that I just want to finish them and get them done. I need the 63 and the 64 Clementes from Topps, so I really want those. And the last Koufax card, I need a 65 Topps. So Josh, if you have 3 or 4 of those lying around in your house,
I'll send one to Texas somewhere.
Or you can just give it to me at the National. That's fine. But no, I want to find a nice 65 Topps. So Josh, what's cool about the National too is like Josh is not going to forget that I need a 65 Topps Koufax, and when he sees one, he's going to call me and or text me and go, dude, come to aisle 2448 and check out this booth. He's got a cool 65 for a reasonable price. That's the other great thing about having buddies with you at a show. You can't see everything, right? So it's if other people know what you want and they're looking for you, that's pretty sweet. And then the last kind of vintage Nolan Ryan that I need, Jason will love this. I want a 72. I need a 72 Topps, his base card. I want it in a 7-ish grade. I'd take a 6. Yeah, thanks. Everybody's just rubbing stuff. We're all rubbing each like, I already have this card. You're needing it. So that's kind of my full list. It's about 12 cards that are just really on top of mind for me. It's not, again, there's hundreds and hundreds of other cards that if I saw them, I would buy them. But that those are kind of some that just really fit holes that would make me, that are just completionist. Like, okay, I'll be done with this run or this project or this whatever if I get those cards. All right, I've talked a lot. I'm going to shut up and let you guys talk. Jason, you want to run through the rest of your list?
Yeah, I'll start with actually a card I'm trying to find raw and very high grade. And there's no PSA 10s of this card. There are maybe 30 PSA 9s, and that's the 76 Topps George Brett. You just cannot find the thing in high grade. It's always off-centered. So I'm always on the hunt for a nicely centered one that I think would grade well. Haven't found one yet. My next card would be it's a small set, but very difficult to find. 1959 Bazooka Mickey Mantle. This is another regret. I had it was an SBC authentic one a few years ago, and I sold it. And at the time, I started putting the set together, but it was so hard to come across some cards. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to deal with it. I'm going to sell whatever I have. And I sold that, and almost immediately I regretted selling it. And so I would love to have 59 Bazooka Mantle back. Of all the Bazooka sets, the 59, the first Bazooka set, was came on the back of the box of gum, Bazooka gum. That's the hardest one to find. The next one I have, this is another regret. I bought one of these last year. I showed it on my channel. Someone contacted me and offered me some money for it. It was a raw 1969 Topps white letter mantle. I have a fairly nice mantle run from 55 to 69. I don't have the white letter anymore. That's I would love to get back. It's just his last card, an iconic player. And it's not, to me, it's not a bad looking card. And I think it's more rare to find a white letter than people think. You'll see them on eBay every now and again. Their price has gone up exponentially over the past couple of years, as has everything vintage. And it's just a good looking card, the last card of a great player. And my last card is actually, that's a bunch of cards. So in the 1990s, pre-eBay, my dad started putting together the 1960 Topps set, and doing these through SCD, Howard Johnson, Rotman Auctions, Teletrade, all these old houses. You had to find them individually. And so he started putting together this 1960 set. And when he passed away, I inherited most of his cards, and I thought that it was complete, and I found out it is not. It's missing about 20 to 25 cards, mostly commons, a couple of all-star cards. So my goal this year is to finish out this 1967. It's a mid-grade set. It's probably a solid 4 to 6. But the set has grown up on me over the past few years, and I would love to watch this out for him, or in his memory. So I'm going to do that in the next 6 months. I'm going to track down those final 20 to 25 cards.
Very nice. I just finished the top set, so
it's good looking.
Oh, yeah, it is. Josh, why don't you run through the rest of your list, and
Sure.
then we can just start taking questions or talk or whatever.
Sounds good. And I'll look out for that Koufax. I'm really hunting for a Luca Prism base rookie. So if you see one of those at the National, give me a call.
There might be a few.
There might be a couple. So I kind of want to get your guys' opinions on this. The next couple I have are ones that I either got in a set, but were just a little off center or something where I would love to upgrade it one day, but I just don't know if I actually will ever upgrade it. So this is a nice Clemente. It's super, off center, left to right. Would love to upgrade it, but with the mentality you're always kind of looking to the next thing, that becomes a little tough. Also, we mentioned the Mantle 53. I have that set mostly in like 4s and 5s, so would love to upgrade that. But same thing, you kind of miss the boat at times and you start focusing on other things. So the last one is a Frank Robinson rookie. But would love to get your guys' thoughts in terms of upgrading what you have versus always like looking for a new card that you don't have.
When it comes to upgrading, my mindset is get the cards I want first, and then once I've run through the gamut of what I'm initially trying to get, then I'll start good upgrading. Centering as I've gotten older has become more important to me. So I would rather have a nicely centered 3 than an off-centered 4, as long as it presents well. So were it me, I would focus more on centering and presentation than the grade. It's by the card, not the grade. So 4 is nice. So 3 is better to me.
Yeah, the upgrade thing is always the rub, right, for most collectors, because there's only so much money. Now, what you would do is probably the smart thing, which is sell the one you have and use that money plus some to buy an upgraded version. My problem is, this is a personal problem. I usually keep the other one too. And to that end, like Jason said, I'd rather spend that money on cards I don't have yet. So that's why I try not to settle. That's why I try to keep patient with things and think about the long game and the marathon, not a sprint mentality of a vintage collector, is that I don't need it today. I'd like it today, but I don't need it. And I couldn't buy all of them today, even if I wanted to, because of financial reasons. So staying patient and going, okay, if I find one, great. But I have plenty of cards. I have my Nolan Ryan's a PSA 3. I'd love to get a 5 or a 6. When I bought the PSA 3, all I could afford at that point in my life was a PSA 3. This was, 8 or 9 years ago. Now I could afford a higher version, but I go, I really would just rather spend that money on cards I don't have. And my 3 is not terrible, So it's this constant duel in our brains, Josh, that I'd tell you, like Jason said, buy cards you don't have yet first, upgrade later. But here's the other rub that's tough for everyone, I would think. Certainly difficult to me. I never run out of things that I want to add. So it's like, well, I'll never be done where now I can go back and upgrade stuff, because it seems like I'm always adding new projects and I see a card like Josh. I'll bring this story up because it just happened yesterday. Josh he did a mail day video yesterday. If you don't follow Josh's channel, Rated Rookie, you need to. But he bought a Mickey Mantle Project 70 by Ermsey yesterday. I saw it, or he got it yesterday. He showed it off yesterday. I looked at it and I went, crap. So I went to eBay. I immediately bought one. So there's always things that you see other people showing off. Maybe you haven't seen it before, or it sparks something in you that you just go, man, I'm going to start this project or whatever, which I find wonderful about what the hobby community can do for each other in terms of being an inspiration. And that's what I think a huge thing for YouTube is. As a YouTuber, you either need to be entertaining, informative, or inspiring. Kind of if you're one of those 3, and hopefully all of those 3 at different points depending on what video you're doing, I think people are really going to dig what you do. And so I try to be those things. I know, Josh, whether you intentionally are trying to be inspiring or not, you are, not only to me, but I'm sure others. So it's thanks for making me spend money last night on a.
I owe you $15, but I think you hit something really important, which is, you mentioned Mike Payne, and he's obviously, that registry is huge for a lot of people, including you, but there's some oddballs. And for me, if I'm thinking about like key cards and who I respect, like what Ray started with the YouTube Hall of Fame, baseball card Hall of Fame, I think is just like unbelievable. Now that we're 3-4 years in, if you look at that list, that's probably like, that should be its own registry. And that's, an unbelievable list of cards from people who really know their stuff. And so, I'm always trying to, I'm catching up on the chat now. There's just so many people who know so much stuff. And I think I learned more about cards from YouTube than I do anywhere else.
Yeah. Are there, speaking, since we've kind of all gone through our lists and maybe, nobody's over there going, y'all are dumb for wanting to buy all those cards, which is great. Everybody's been pretty great on the chat. I mentioned inspiration, and Josh, you've inspired me. Jason, I watch stuff that you get in the mail, and I'll hit you up, be like, hey, I want to buy that from you or whatever. And because I know you're like, yeah, I think I'm going to sell this. And I'm like texting you immediately, hoping nobody else has gotten a hold of you because I want to buy that card. Do y'all get inspired by watching other people? And if so, do you have any cool stories from that?
Josh, you want to go first?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I love YouTube. It's helped me. I don't know if I'd say bring me back into the hobby, because I never really left the hobby, but it's re-engaged me in a different way with the hobby. And even these channels, like I watch some of these new guys who have come into it who are all the big stuff. I think Sasha T and some other guys. I don't really fall into their mindset. I don't do that hustle type thing, but it's interesting to see their processes and to see what they focus on and to see the people they're engaging with and what the interest is out there. So it's interesting from that perspective. But yeah, YouTube has been enlightening to me in terms of showing me the amount of stuff that's out there, the amount of people that know stuff about stuff that's out there, and it's really helped me better focus what my own interests are, I think.
Any good stories of a particular card that you picked up from that?
Wow. Oh, actually, yeah. A recent one. I'll give you the most recent one. There's a guy, I can't remember what his channel is. Sports card investor, collector, sport
dealer. Yeah.
In that order. He had picked up he showed off, it was probably half a dozen of the elite autographed Cal Ripken cards that he collects from 1991 or 92 years. But it's a card that I've seen over the past 25 years. I love it. I saw that video and I said, you know what? That's within my budget. Why don't I just get one of those cards? So I went out same day I saw his channel, or same day I saw his video, and I bought one of those cards. And it's a card that I've worn for 25 years. I just never got around to buying it. So seeing him have 5 or 6, and you think, I can do this. I should do this to get it off my mind.
What about you, Josh?
Yeah, plenty of examples. I was watching Nolan Alico 3 and Silver Jackify, New York Yanks fan 7, I think his handle is. And so they inspired me a number of times. I was always wanting to pick up a Babe Ruth prior to this one. And they kind of helped hone me into the 33 Gaudy, number 144, the one that's double printed, but I think it's a nicer shot. Hearing people talk about those photos compared to the other Babe Ruths in that Gaudy set kind of set it apart for me.
Yeah, it's happens to me a lot, right? And that's a good thing. I like being inspired. I like seeing things and going, man, I've never, or like Jason said, I've known about the card forever, and something just click. Like, okay, why don't I just go buy that? That's ridiculous. Why haven't I bought that before? It happens a lot. So let's give away this Topps Inception box. Y'all want to do that? And then we can answer questions and stuff. We got 78 people in the room, so hopefully somebody will want a baseball box. We need a trivia question. I'm trying to think of a good trivia question. Here's one. Lou Gehrig is my favorite player of all time, so this will be the trivia question. There's some guys in here that I think will know it very quickly. Who was the player that Lou Gehrig replaced and began his epic games played streak? Who is the player that Lou Gehrig, and it's going to be based on what we see in the chat here. So whoever can name me that. Wow, everybody got it, but the first one that I see is Otto Olsen. Y'all agree with that? Is that what y'all see on the chat over there? Otto Olsen, yeah. Wally Pipp is who Lou Gehrig replaced. So, Otto, you get this box of Inception. I'm going to ask you a weird question. Do you want me to open it and send you the cards, or do you want me to send you the box that opened? I'd like to bust the box, but it's his box now. He now owns it. But let me know what you want me to do. I'll send it to you unopened. It's about a $175 box. So if you want to sell it, that's great. If you want me to open it for you and show everybody, and then because I know Otto doesn't do content, so he said, "Sure, open it." Well, okay. Y'all want to see?
Oh, this is Mike's foray into the breaker world.
Oh my gosh,
This is how it all started.
It was really weird to get all this stuff from Topps for Hobby Palooza because it didn't entice me. I wasn't going, oh man, I can't wait to rip that stuff. All right, Otto, you said it, so I'm opening it up for you, and I will send you the cards. So you just need to send me a email. I think Otto has my email.
If you hit something, you got to go nuts like those breakers.
I'll be acting like one of those for breakers. You know, oh my gosh, I cannot believe we pulled this. Okay, so it'll actually be cheaper to ship the cards because it's only one pack. It's like one. That's it, all empty. I don't have one of those cool cameras that's facing down. Should I put on the gloves and stuff too? That is cool of Otto to let me open it. All right. Okay. Okay. So how does this work? Who's that guy? Sixto Sanchez. I think that's a rookie, probably. Yeah. Another rookie, Tariq Screwball. Oh, if his name was Screwball, that'd be hilarious. Okay. Brian Hayes.
Nice.
Man, he's getting some rookies in this. Not numbered, just a base. Another rookie, Dalton Varsho. Is he any good? Never going to make it? Okay. And then I think we go to the back. There's a couple of parallels. We got a Kyle Hendricks green parallel. It is not numbered. We got a Miguel Cabrera orange, numbered to 50. That's awesome. Otto, you need to tell me if I need to give that to JT if he doesn't have that card. And our hit is a pretty cool Dylan Carlson gold ink. What's that? Like a silver sign. It says silver signings on the back, but it's definitely gold ink. That's what's funny. Silver signings. It's got the Go cards on it. Dylan Carlson rookie numbered 1 out of 25. So an eBay 1 of 1 right there.
That is probably a higher than average box then.
That's pretty good.
That would be good.
I don't know if it's $175 worth of cards. That's what the boxes go for, but that's true of any rip, right? So, Otto, these are all yours, man. Congrats. Okay, that was fun. That was different, wasn't it? Didn't expect to open a box, but
very nice. The chat was on fire during that box break.
Was it? Nice.
They're surprised you even know how to open packs at this point.
Right. I didn't at least throw them in a fire or anything, so that's good, right? I didn't burn them.
Somebody needs to throw a little gift for a meme in right here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Otto, get a hold of me, and I will get you these cards sent out to you. I need to put them in like a box or something. What else y'all want to talk about? We've gone through our lists. Josh, are any of those cards on your list since you're going to the National that you're kind of just going, okay, I really am looking for that card?
Yeah, there are a couple in there. The DiMaggio, I think, was probably number 1 on my list. I was looking for it in Dallas. And then Silver Jack Fight comes out with a video saying he's looking for the same card. So there goes that. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what comes. Where's your little countdown to the National?
Ooh, I should have done that. We are 20 days away. Less than, I think. Not even. You're right. Less than 20 days away. I'm excited. And you're staying with yourself. You're not rooming with anybody or anything.
No, unless JT leaves your couch.
Yeah, JT is going to be on my couch for sure. Man, I don't have any like giant top loaders for that huge Dylan Carlson card. Yeah, I do. I just found one. What about you, Jason? You got any shows coming up?
I may. It depends on some stuff going on next week. I may try to do a quick turn and burn to the Dallas show. I think since it's the precursor to the Nationals, I'm wondering if there are going to be a lot of smaller dealers there. The larger ones are going to be packing up all their stuff to get up to Chicago. So I may try to check that out. I don't know yet. It kind of depends on what my watch says.
Doesn't it always your Wives' Day?
Yeah. You always have happy wife, happy life. You gotta make sure you get her approval and stuff like that. But I would love to get up there, even if it's for a few hours. And I'd mostly be looking for mantles, so vintage mantles.
Well, I would.
And as always, nice to meet you. Say again?
If you come up here, I'd love to see you.
I'd love to see you.
I mean, I'm not going to the show, but you can come over to Fort Worth, and all my money's allocated to Chicago. So, yeah, who you looking forward to seeing, Josh? Everybody?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be just insane, right? The number of people that we haven't really seen since Chicago. So obviously the whole crew. There should be plenty of events going on. We might check out the casino as well. There's already some stuff being planned. So, how about you?
You, Dave, Eric, Andy. Andy and I are traveling together and staying together, so I'll see him a lot. And so many guys in the chat. There's so many guys I haven't met yet. I mean, lots of guys that I have. Looking forward to seeing them again, and lots of guys that I've never met other than the anonymous, YouTube comments that they make. So it'll be great to put faces with names and finally make those connections, and it'll be great. 17 days away, according to Christian. So here, we'll just put that up. 17 days away, Christian says.
And Mike, are you going to take any cards for a trade night? Nothing?
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't.
Pulling the Otanis right now.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Don't bring any Acuñas, apparently. Yikes.
That was a rough day for Andy.
Yeah. Yeah. McGregor lost and Acuña went down for the season. So I can't wait to meet the Patreon page investors. I don't have any Patreon guys. That's pretty good. And we'll look at some cards. Yeah. Scott will be there. I know. Yeah. Rick, vintage all ball cards. I mean, just, it'll be great. It's a family reunion, right? Like we say all the time. And Jason, you're part of the family too, but you get to, the Dallas show is supposed to be 700 plus tables next week. That's
I know.
A lot of tables.
I'm thinking it'll be a lot of lower end stuff, more than usual, probably lower end stuff, which is actually fun for me. I like sifting through the cheap boxes and finding the little treasures. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike O. Yep, he'll be there, of course. Dawn, Field of Drink. Man, so many guys are going to be there. It's going to be awesome. Wow. We're going to have a good time. Guess who's next? Four Leaf and Scott, Reindeer Studios. They're going to be doing dueling drawings, like doing some original art that they're going to be drawing live at the next hour of Hobby Palooza. Have you guys been having fun in Hobby Palooza, enjoying it? Oops. Hold on. I'm trying to unmute you, Jason. You need to unmute yourself, I guess. There you go.
Yeah. I've been, I told you I was out most of yesterday, but I've caught up on probably 4 or 5 hours worth of replay. And it's one of those things, it's an event where you could just lay on the couch for half a day and not move and have your child and spouse get mad at you. But it's fun. It's fun to watch. We have some fun people in this community. So.
Yeah, I watched it all yesterday and I was tired at the end of it. Norman's out barking right now. Josh, have you enjoyed it? You've watched some of it, I think.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I threw out my back, so I've been kind of laying down a lot. And I don't recommend throwing out your back, but if you're going to do it, time it with Hobby Palooza because there's just so much going on right now.
That's a great idea. something you can put on, like you said, Jason, and watch a game or have a game also on, or the golf tournament. Like I'm going to turn on the golf tournament in a little bit and just watch. I will be back at 5:00. It says surprise on the Hobby Palooza website, thehobbypalooza.com. But it is one of those open mic nights. Andy and I are going to be on live at 5:00 for Hobby Palooza, just taking people that want to come in the chat and chat sports cards with us. It's literally going to be open mic, which is both terrifying and exciting at the same time, because you never know what you're going to get, right? Like the old box of chocolates that Forrest Gump would talk about. So, man, you know what? I think we might go ahead and end it. Everybody head over. The channel is going to be on 4-leaf cards. It's 4, like the number 4 leaf cards. That's the channel they're going to be doing. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to go, take a pee or whatever you need to do. Go grab a beer or soda or whatever you want to get ready for the next stream. We don't necessarily need to run it all the way to the end. So any final thoughts from you guys, Jason, Josh?
Live, love, and dream. Baseball.
That's right. Love the hobby, people.
Keep collecting baseball cards forever, SA. No, guys, thanks everybody for watching, tuning in. Really appreciate it. I hope you guys, if you're coming to the National, if you see Josh or I, please say hi. Josh is really mean in person, but don't let that intimidate you. He'll at least tolerate you interrupting his day and saying hello to him. And no, Josh is a great guy.
Men with hair are always the worst.
Right? They're just so cocky. When you're bald, you have nothing. I have nothing to be proud of, right? Josh. But no, Josh and I would love to say hi to anybody that sees us at the National, and
Please.
we'll just a few weeks away, a couple of weeks away. So thanks everybody again for watching. Go check out 4-leaf cards right now. Keep collecting.
See you guys.